2024 is just about finished, complete. Today, I'm filming a video, December 17th, midway through the month, and I'm here with the man, Antwyn Jackson, man. This guy has some awesome YouTube videos that he put out recently. I've been loving a lot of the editing you've been doing, man. Just tell me a bit about some of the stuff that you've had on the page that's done well, and then we'll get into this video.
Man, first of all, I appreciate you having me on. As far as like stuff that's done well, I would say recently it's been some of the interviews. I recently spoke to Max Griffin before he fought last week. Fought Michael Chiesa, and then a few weeks before that, I talked to Josh Emmett. And then also we have a variety of things that I bring on other creators, and then my wife is a major part of the channel. So we have a variety of stuff, but it's fun, it's entertaining, and we have a couple surprise people to jump on. So it's always fun, man.
Nice. And where can people find that, man?
So that's it. Making the walk, MMA. So pretty much any social, you some variation of making the walk.
There you
But
go.
yeah.
So make sure you check it out. I'll have it in the show notes below. So as I said, 2024 is almost done. So we're gonna go over our top 5 moments in the UFC. Not necessarily fights. It could be fights. It could be anything. But our top 5 moments from 2024 inside the Ultimate Fighting Championship. So I'll let you
Yeah.
have the floor with number 5. We'll go from 5 to 1. Give you the floor with number 5.
So number five was kind of a personal one for me, but it was one that I think that most people didn't expect at the time. So Benoit Saint Denis was kind of a person of interest, I would say, in the lightweight division. Some people looked at him as a dark horse, and when people are dark horses in divisions, they get the contender treatment. They get the test, and so he got the test, and that test was Dustin Poirier, and Dustin Poirier proved that he couldn't pass that test and knocks him out cold. So, like for me as a Dustin Poirier fan, that was a major moment of 2024.
My number 5 is going to be a walkout, and it's actually a recent walkout, and it was hilarious to me. It made me laugh. There were some better walkouts throughout the year, but my number 5 moment was UFC Tampa, Colby Covington being walked out by Hulk
Oh
Hogan.
yeah,
That was crazy. Not just
that
Hulk
was
Hogan, but Chael Sonnen as well. Like this
yeah.
guy has a walkout of ages. He didn't perform very well inside the octagon that night, but my goodness, who would ever think that? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan? Where the heck did
So,
that even come from, man? He's accompanied
yeah.
by Hulk Hogan on one side, Chael Sonnen on the other. Hogan raised the red, white, and blue American flag high, and I am a real American blasting on
Yeah.
the speakers. So, I mean, Colby didn't do work inside the octagon at UFC Tampa, but the walkout was epic. So that's my
Yeah.
number 5 moment.
Can't argue with that. That was nostalgic for sure.
Was it ever? All right, going on. Number 4, man.
Number four, this one was a big one for me for women's MMA, and this is the fact that um, Kayla Harrison made weight. That was massive. That was huge. So for me, like when she walked on that scale, and she, of course, looked emaciated, she looked depleted, but she made weight, and you could tell that it was an emotional situation for her, and she made it. She walked off. Didn't have the best performance, but she had a performance and she won. So, like for women's MMA and for the UFC, specifically the bantamweight division, that was a big moment for her, and it made the mark for me.
Makes sense, man. Completely hearing that for sure. Women's MMA in general had some great fights in 2024. My number 4 moment, and it could be higher, but I'm gonna go with the Sphere. I think the UFC able to do that, put it on the map, able to ring it out and do what they did. It was very cinematic. They had some great fights. It looked damn cool. And I think the Sphere, like, I wouldn't put it as 3, 2, or 1 for myself, but I think the fact that they were able to get that done. I know that was Dana White's number one moment of 2024. Obviously, he spent the most dollars on it, but I
Yeah,
think it was super cool that they were able to get the Sphere show done. Will it ever happen again? I I have no clue. Dana said it was one and done going into it, but the spectacle in itself, like if I wish I were there in person just because of
yeah,
what everybody said and what you could see on the TV. It was a cool moment.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just even playing UFC 5 and it having the sphere in it and the
Yeah.
way it almost feels like you're there a little bit. Like, I mean, it was a very special thing that I don't know how they're going to top that. He always says every year that he's going to top it. He's going to level up. And I don't know how he's going to do it this year with the sphere.
And I mean, I think even like a stadium show doesn't top the Sphere. They've
No.
always wanted to do a stadium show. They've always talked about it. Will it ever happen? Who the heck knows? But I don't know if it would top the Sphere. We'll go to number three. I'll do this one first. And again, touching on Dana White. Well, that sounded bad, but I talked about Dana White in the last one with the Sphere and him talking about it. My number three is Dana White's undying love for John Jones. It was never
No one.
more than it was in 2024. The man fought Stipe Miocic. He proved to be the best heavyweight in the division, other than a man named Tom Aspinall, who John Jones will never fight from the looks of it. But Dana White still loves him. The memes that came out of that, the little videos where it's like, someone talking about dying from cancer, and then it's Dana White on the microphone saying, "Yeah, but John Jones is the greatest of all time." So that the joke, I guarantee you, will keep running into 2025. But Dana White losing his shit over John Jones not being the pound for pound person in the world, and his undying love is my number three moment of
Yeah.
2024. What's yours?
So mine, this is a tough one, but I'll make it easy for myself. I would say the legend of Alex Pereira. I feel like his legend in 2024 for what he did on short notice at big events and the way that he did it with these knockouts, like his legend has exploded. Before he came in, it was all on the back of Israel Adesanya and their rivalry, but now he is an entity all in of itself, and I feel like he's the biggest star in the UFC at this point. So the rise of what we see as Alex Pereira now versus what we saw of him this same time in 2023.
Is it crazy to you that John Jones wants that guy instead of Tom Aspinall?
Yes and no. I mean, it makes sense from a financial standpoint. With Alex, I do believe that Alex is probably the biggest star in the UFC right now. And then also, it's from a strategic standpoint, it is an easier fight.
Yeah,
Um,
weight wise too. I mean, but Jones will
yeah,
have to cut some weight. I don't know if Pajeda will move up to heavyweight for it. Who the heck knows, really? It's
yeah.
unspoken at this point. But go on, number two then for you, because I don't want to toss mine at number two for you before.
So number two was going to be the UFC Sphere, but I'm going to change it up. My number two is going to be Ilya Taporia knocking out Volkanovski. So a lot of people would say Max because the fact that Max hadn't been dropped really. I mean, kind of a little bit against Justin, but he hadn't been hurt like that. But I think that Taporia's jump start was him knocking out Volkanovski and claiming that belt the way that he did, beating a legend, one of the greatest featherweights of all time, and staking his claim as the guy to beat in that division. So that was a massive moment, a star turning moment, in my opinion.
My number two was your number three. Mine is Alex Pajeda. Number two, the guy did it again and again and again. And I mean, he has tattooed on his chest anytime, any place, and it proved it because, the guy literally did it. He, the Jamal Hill fight, I mean, there was, you know, controversy with it because of the way it happened, but cold-blooded,
Hmm.
man. The guy knocks guys out. And the Khalil Roundtree fight, like Roundtree looked great for a little bit there, but
He did.
stalking Pajeda stalking him down, it's just beautiful work that he does inside the octagon, and we haven't seen
Hmm.
stuff like that. I mean, like you said, Israel Adesanya was that guy, but he's had a few boring performances.
Yep.
Anderson Silva is another guy who comes to mind. John Jones never had the most exciting style. He was able to beat guys sort of the way George St. Pierre did with their own tactics. Um, and again, he has there were the fights where, you know, we didn't know whether the scorecards were going to go his way. Alex Pajeda, we know when he gets in there that he's going to be looking to put your lights out, and if he doesn't, he's going to take some shots to give shots, and
Hmm.
he's proved that he is the UFC star. So, Alex Pajeda proving to do it over and over again in 2024 is my number 2. Um, we'll go to number 1. I'm guessing we at this point we might have the same thing, and likely we do.
Yeah. I mean, what else could be number one? I mean, you get the biggest stage. You got UFC 300, a fight that going into it, everybody was scared for this dude, and he puts on that kind of performance. Max Holloway KOs Justin Gaethje when he didn't even really have to. He was winning the fight. Goes to the center, points down, and says, "I'm going to give you a chance to end this, or I'm going to end it." And he ended at the buzzer. Like, come on, like that's one of the biggest moments in sports. Like that is a
100%. It's
massive.
yeah, that's not just the biggest moment in 2024. That's the moment in MMA. It's arguably one of the best knockouts of all time, best moments of all time in UFC history. The guy points to the center of the octagon, rock'em sock'em style, where they're just throwing. He slips, he lands, um, he wins the BMF title. And like you said, he didn't need to do it, but he did. He was going to
Yeah,
win that fight on scorecards, and like barn burner of a moment for sure. Uh, did it take some brain cells away? Maybe, but
maybe.
but definitely took some more of Justin Gaethje's brain cells away, because no better fight than that one
Yeah,
gives a true definition of BMF.
yeah,
That literally sealed the deal. And like I said, it made the moment number 1 for 2024 for both of us, and arguably one of the best moments in sports history for
yeah.
not just ever, but 2024. Like you see ESPN countdowns for 2024, that will likely be on it, and very,
Absolutely.
very high.
If it's not on it, then they messed up.
100%. I wanted to give some honorable mentions outside the octagon. I said this was top 5 for the UFC. I was, you know, Francis Ngannou making his return
Hmm.
was huge. Um, PFL, you know, purchasing Bellator and doing the PFL versus Bellator card was
That was
massive.
good.
Any that stick out to you?
Outside the octagon, I would say Alexander Usyk beating Tyson Fury. Um, I would also say Daniel Dubois knocking out Anthony Joshua in embarrassing fashion. And then on the backside of that, Anthony Joshua knocking out Francis Ngannou in embarrassing fashion.
Yeah.
So those definitely stick out to me for sure. And then one more, Dakota DeChiva beating Talia Santos.
Yeah, that
Um,
was huge. And that's almost a video in itself, because she could easily stake claim to one of the best women's fighter of 2024. Not just like we said, this was the UFC countdown, but she could arguably be the best fighter of 2024 for the females. I'd love to scratch your brain on who she should fight next in another video.
mhm.
And if you even think she has a shot against someone like Shevchenko, again, in another video. But yeah, Dakota Ditcheva, amazing performance, looked fantastic in there. I am Jeremy Brand. He is Antwyn Jackson. That was our top 5 moments in the octagon for the UFC. Walkouts, Sphere, You heard it all. Antwyn, give the last word, man.
Man, all I would say is 2024 was wild. It was crazy. I mean, a lot of unexpected things, but I'm curious where we go from here. Where is 2025 going to land? We've already done the sphere. We got to go bigger. What's going to happen? I'm curious what people say in the comments.